Okay, Gunjan, are you there? Gunjan, you want to take up your question after the session or now?
It depends upon you, Ishani.
So does it involve filter function?
Yes, it does.
So then let's wait so that everybody get involved in that discussion.
Sure.
All right, because
Good afternoon, Shani. Sorry to interrupt you.
no, good afternoon. So let's take up that your confusion that you have. Let's take it up after we've finished all and filter function also, so that everybody can understand what we're talking about. Okay.
Sure.
All right.
Thanks.
Perfect. All right. Few more functions we'll cover today. So I'm not saying I'm covering all the DAX functions, by the way. Please note that it's not that we are covering all. It's not possible to cover all. But yes, the frequently used ones, that's what we are covering over here. And as and when the need is, just like how you have in Excel and SQL, any of the Python and anything, as and when there is a usage, try to Google and try to find out what are the functions which are used over there. So I am going to work with, today we're going to talk about this function, two functions, one is all and one is filter. And then we will also talk about these time intelligence formula. So that is the main thing that we're going to cover today. I'm going to try and finish all of this today. So there is a function, like we have done functions of relate. Then we worked with the iterator functions like SumX. Then we spoke about this function called calculate. Then we have a function called all. Now, what does all do for us? So there are some functions which work and return you a scalar value, a single value, and there are going to be some functions which returns you a table. Okay, so typically these type of functions which return us the table or they are returning us a column, we do not use them as it is, because our intention is not to create more data until is that data that we have created we will be further using for our bunch of analysis. So typically all these functions, the functions which return us a table, are used in some kind of calculation. It could be, you using a SumX or you using a calculate function, but you are going to use some kind of function on it that it returns again to you a single value of it. Okay. Now, what does all function do for us? All function removes all the filter on the table or the few columns that you want. So if I have my table in which the filters are involved, but when I want to do the calculations, especially when we are trying to do grand totals and the totals, I don't want any filter to be involved in it. I want the value to be itself. Then how do we use it? Over there, the function of all comes into play. It is useful for calculating numbers like grand total and removes the filter when dropping in the visual. What does this mean? You have seen in Power BI, what happens is when you drop any value, like for example over here, right? If I remove the this one, what is it? If I remove the category name and I'm removing this bike return, this is a single number. 1828. As soon as you put the category name into the rows, it does a filtering effect on it, right? But when you are using this all function and when you're calculating the values based on all functions, the answer that you will get, you will see it is not going to get filtered by any of the fields that you're dropping over here. Make sense?
Yes.
Let's see. For example, let's say in sales data, let's create a measure. I'm going to call it as all sales. Inside that, like I said, these cannot be used independently because what they return is entire table or a column. So you need a value with it. And what am I evaluating? I'm evaluating my total sales. And where you have this filter, we'll put all. Now all will ask, okay, do you want to remove it from the entire table? Or you will say, okay, I have this table and these are the column names from where I want to remove it. Right? So two things. If I give the table name, if I say, okay, sales data. So what this will do, all the columns that are there in this table called sales data, it will remove the filters from there and then evaluate total sales. So if I put it over here like this and press enter, and if I drop this all sales, you see the same number is coming throughout. It does not get filtered based on the values that you have over here. Versus if I would have dropped total sales, it gets filtered out. So that's the key difference between both of them. So now if I wanted to find out what is the percentage of sales within each category, that I can do using all and the total sales. So I can create a new measure called percentage contribution. And over here, we can put my total sales divided by all sales. Right? Press enter. We get this value. Let's drop it also over here. And we can make it as a percentage. Right? So basically what it is showing us is this is the total sales. Majority 94.89 means about 95% of the sales is coming from bikes and 3.64 is coming from accessories and 1.47 is coming from clothing. So we are able to find our percentage contribution. Is it clear?
Shani, it's not clear. Can you please repeat once again? Because it's not filtering all the sales.
It does not, when you are using all function, it kind of removes all the filtering effect on the data. Okay. Now, there could be two ways that the filtering is happening. One is in your data tables, the filtering has been happened, right? Second thing is when you drop it in the visualization, then again filtering happens. Remember, this is my total sales, 249. Now, as soon as I dropped and I have a category name, it bifurcated itself into various categories.
Hmm.
So this is a filtering effect.
Yes.
But all is unaffected by these filters.
Okay.
Okay, so typically they are used when you want to find percentage of the grand total, percentage of the totals, percentage contribution, something like that. Then these functions kick in and help us to do it. Okay, so again, what is all function doing? All function, when I'm giving a name of a table, it will remove all the filters from all the columns of this table and then evaluate the value. Since you have used all, there will be no filtering effect on the output that we get. All function would return you a table. So that's why we can't use all function as it is. We will have to put it inside another function, which will help us to aggregate it, to summarize it, and then return a value. Ashish, now is it making sense?
Yes, Ishan. Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay, what about others?
Ishani, if we are not using all function, then the percentage sales contribution, what difference does that make?
So what difference? What did you say?
I'm saying that we are using in sales contribution all sales data, right? If in case we are not using all sales data, rather we just take the total sales, right? And so what difference will it make in the result of it? I mean, the sales contribution, we are using all sales data, right?
So there is two ways of looking at it. For example, like let me bring it back. So we had the total sales,
Yes.
right? If I go in the values and I go to total sales, over here also have something called show value as, just like in pivots, and a percentage of, let's say, column total.
Yeah.
If I do that, I get the same output,
Yes.
right? But over here, there's only one filtering you're talking about, that is filtering in context to your visualization. But what if there's some filtering that has happened on the table level, and now you want to get rid of that filtering and find the total?
Okay.
Okay.
Then it will be, then
Yes.
it can make a difference. Right now, there is no, as such, no filter.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Thanks.
All right. Clear to everyone? What is the role of all? So since it returns a column or a table, it has to be used in functions like calculate. Example, over here, I have put AW total orders based on the sales, finding the total orders that we have. Okay, this you guys have already done. Next is a filter function. Now, filter function is also in the category of the functions which returns us a table. So when you think about it, and I think that is what Gunjan's point of discussion will also be, when you think about it, when you're using a calculate function, you are also applying a filter over there. We are applying a filter on the calculate, yes or no?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
It is going on the row basis, on the row and row, it is doing the filtering on that particular column and giving us an output. But calculate function returns as a scalar value, will return me a single value. Whereas filter function does not return a value, it returns it returns a table to us. Okay. And again, just like in all, we are typically not interested in extracting the table unless we want that table for some future analysis. We are going to use again a function within another function to get one single value. Now, the major difference between calculate and filter, what I've understood, one is that calculate gives you single value, filter gives you a table. Calculate, when you put the filtering criteria in calculate, remember, if you remember in the slide I had written, it needs to have a static simple values for calculations. Like we said, gender is equal to male, right? Quantity is greater than 1. Simple conditions is what it can deal with. It cannot deal with measures over there. So if I would have said, I want to find the total sales of the people who have, of the sales of the people having more than the average income. So in this case, what is my condition? Hold on. Like if I say, find the total sales of customers, find the total sales of customer whose annual income is greater than average income, average annual income, right? Now, what is the condition we will apply? We have a field called annual income, right?
Yes.
So what is the condition you will apply? You will apply this
Well,
one,
average on income.
Yeah.
Annual income, right?
is greater than equal to average function,
Average.
Average.
annual income. Correct?
Mhm.
When your annual income is greater than whatever is the average of the annual income. Yes or no?
Yes.
Right. So is this a simple static value or it is a measure that you're given over here?
Measure.
It's
Some measure.
right? This is a measure that we are evaluating it. And this cannot be done by calculating. What calculate could have done if you would have said an expression like this, and you would have said, okay, let me find out all the annual incomes which is more than 100,000. This calculate can deal with. But this kind of calculation, this kind of not calculation, this filtering where the measure gets involved, this can be done by the filter function and not calculate. Is it making sense to everyone what I'm saying?
Yes, Ishani.
Right?
That means in the above case, calculation is done on the calculation, right? Over the calculation, yes.
Yes, the filtering is based on a calculation.
Yeah.
Right. So those kind of things your calculate cannot deal with, you will have to use the filter function there. So over here, just to recap, this returns a single value. This returns you a table. Right? Over here, filter condition has to be static, simple. And over here, the filter condition could be a measure. All right. So over here, we've taken an example. So it works as an iterator function as it works on each row. So each row, it will go and apply filter function. It is time-taking process on a larger database. That's why filter function is not recommended. Calculate is recommended a lot, but filters are not recommended because on a larger database, it is going to take huge time to do the filtering. Why is this? Because when you're talking about a calculate function, you defined on which column you want to go, and this is the criteria I want to apply. So the working is little faster. Your CPU usage is little faster versus in filter, it becomes very slow. So if I can deal with calculate and apply my filters best, if not, then I'll come back to the filter functions. The only the benefit of it is that it can handle more complex filters than what calculate does. For example, when the product price is greater than overall price, whatever is the overall price, if the product price is greater, so again overall price is nothing but a measure that we have. Okay, syntax is what? The table on which you want to do the filter, and what's the filter expression. Filter expression should give you true or false as an output. It returns a table, and calculate does not return a table. Since it returns a table, it has to be again used inside of functions like calculate or a sumx to give us a useful output. So simple example over here is where it says, let's say high ticket order. If you're trying to find what are the high ticket orders, we can say the total orders and the filter on product lookup table where the price is greater than overall average price. So in this case, filter will help us to do it, right? High ticket orders. So we can implement this over here. If you're going to find out how many are the high ticket. So it's a measure. High ticket orders, and the definition is we are using inside calculate. We have something called a total order. We do have total orders, right? Or we did not calculate.
We do have.
We do have total orders. We have.
You have, I don't have. Why don't I have?
Total order quantity.
Quantity.
Okay, sum of the total order quantity, comma, filter. First, it is asking for what? The table. Which table do you want to filter? The price, the price, right?
Price.
Related
we have to use.
With calculate filter.
Hold on. No, we wanted to find it out based on This one, right? Where the filter on the product table where the price is greater than the average. So I'm just thinking it should sit here only. Product returns and related tables filtered so that it only includes the related rows. Product fact table. Comma. Now we have to give our filter. Filter 2. What did I mess up? Hold on. Filter 1. So filter 1 is where the price your product price is greater than your average of your product price. Right? And this is done, close the bracket. Too few arguments were passed in filter function. This is cut down bracket and related product table, product price, average function, close bracket for this, and close bracket for calculate, right? Correct? Of order quantity. No, not order quantity. This is wrong. We want sum of order numbers. We don't want sum. You guys are not paying attention to what mistakes I'm doing. Distinct count on order numbers.
We have total quantity.
No quantity, no. Which orders are there which are greater than, which has a product price greater than the average product price? How many orders are there? Right? So distinct count on order numbers. We are counting, and what we want to do, we want to filter the product fact table wherever the price of the product is greater than the average price. Let's see. But I should have created a measure for total orders. I've used it twice and still I've not created it. Orders is equal to distinct count number. Okay, let's see. Let's create this card. What are the total number of orders that I have? I have about 25,000 orders, right? And out of this, let's see if I draw. What did I name it? High ticket orders. So out of 25,000, I've got 11,000 orders in which we have products where the average price is greater than, where the price of the product is greater than the average price. Okay? Is this part clear? So just because I had to use this average, I cannot use calculate. So if I try, let's say we do try new measure. High ticket calculate. So calculate. What are we calculating? Total orders. Comma. And if I say the price, the product price is greater than the average product price, and close the bracket, and that's it, right? Let's see if it worked. How can it work? But calculate is not supposed to take a measure. It happily took a measure. Strange. Hmm. It failed my
Yesterday also,
query.
yeah, yesterday also we worked on measure with calculate. Like when female customer, we did take total sales, then
Was equal to female, right? Those were the static measure. There was a static formulas that we were using. Strange. In one more batch of Power BI with Genpack only, I gave this illustration that it won't work, and it did turn red because of the aggregation would not have happened. Today it wants to work. Hmm. One more thing. Let me try. Okay. Okay. This kind of measures would not be used. Like I used a measure called average price, which was a measure, and I did not do calculation over there. So it is not able to work. A function placeholder has to use true or false expression that is used as a table filter expression. This is not allowed. But yeah, kind of difficult to understand because that is also giving us the same output as an average price would have given. Average of the entire one. But this is a measure and hence calculate is not going to allow this. All right. But other measures, if I would have used this, let us check now. If I would have used this over here, this also turned red. Why it turned red?
extra bracket.
Q. This also went black. Good job. Distinct. And the price is greater than average price. Why it went blank? Printer on the I think I got it. Sales data, and this is data that this. And single value per price data. Single value column price. And we're evaluating sales table. Average. Till 9. Trying to evaluate the orders. Don't know why with the measure both are not working now. What has happened? I'll look into it and tell you tomorrow what went wrong.
Yes, Shani, no problem.
Okay, I'll look into this one and tell you what went wrong. Let me just save it also. And moving on. Okay. Gunjan, you want to ask a question now? Because now we've done with filter.
Yeah, sure, Shani.
Yeah.
My question was when to use calculate versus when to use aggregate expressions function, such as sum x, average x, min
I
x.
think what you are mixing them with is basically you can have two combinations that we can use, because what calculate does is aggregation based on filtering, right? And when you say when to use sum x does only the iterations, but it doesn't do any filtering. So you will have to use it with functions like filter in order to get the same result. Correct? Is that where the confusion is?
Yes, correct.
Right. Now you can use sum x and filter, but if you read on the topics, I would say different people talk about different things. What I've understood is in terms of processing, calculate is faster versus using filters, because filter itself takes a lot of space and it's slower process. So probably on a smaller database, both of them can be used, doesn't matter. But on a larger database, the calculate function would be faster versus sum x and filter combination.
Got it.
Okay. So basically what Gunjan is asking is, like I said, when you do filter will give us a, why don't we use this thing now that we are discussing it? Why we use calculate? Let's say, why don't we use sum x over here? Sum x, no, count x. If I use a count x, and what do you want to, which table do we want to count? We want to count on the table of sales. And comma, what is expression? Expression is I want to filter the, let's see, if I want to filter the product fact table and keep only the products where the product price is greater than the average, we already have that average price, and close the bracket. Close the bracket for context. But I
We
kind
need
of
related.
uh
Product, you are using product and you are calculating in.
as long as it's coming up by itself, I don't need anything. But I don't know, somewhere I'm messing around with these things. But basically what is happening, uh, filters are giving tables to the iterative functions, and iterative functions are then only working on the limited amount of data. So let's say if I had an initial table with 1000 rows on it. Okay. Now using your filter function, we have reduced it to 400 rows. Now we are using a sumx on only those 400 rows. So this is also kind of doing filtering and aggregation. That is what calculate does. But in this case, since it's a table involved, that's why it becomes a little slower in the processing, and hence typically people like calculate. But again, I have, like I said, the more you read, the more you look at people's work, it is more of a personal choice. Some people love to use some Excel filters, they don't use calculate at all. And people like me, I like to use my calculate function. Like you can see, filter is a disaster for me. So I love to use the calculate as much as possible, and I try to stay away from filter functions a little bit. But both end result would basically be the same.
Ishan, could you show that context expression again? What columns you have used?
Which one? Which one?
The context.
Which you are doing earlier.
Oh, context. I was trying to hide it.
What was the
Context, we
question
are
here?
same high ticket orders.
Okay, sales data, we filter the product where the product price is greater than the average of the product price.
I think the challenge is more than the formulas. This average is giving me trouble. If I put an average over here and give a product price, just close this for this. This is for filter. This is for context. No, where did I go wrong? I'm doing filter. The expression refers to multiple columns. Multiple cannot be into scalar. Right. So if I say,
Shani, why we haven't done relate in this context?
see, relate, typically try to use, if you're typing and your columns don't pop up, then we use relate. If it's able to use it as it is, because we are working in the fact table, product fact table, that's why probably relate is not used. But hold on once again, refers to multiple columns because the whole table is getting returned. So if I say, let's do it again. Kunjan, I think you like iterator functions and filters more. So the table would be, oh, the filter would come over here. What am I doing? Table would come over here, the filter, and this would be where your, the table is my product fact table, comma, where the price of the product price is greater than the average price, and close the bracket for filter, and then the expression that we want. Our expression is my, what is it called? It has to be a column. I cannot give a measure over here. So what column will we do? We will work on order number. Order. Choosing author. What is the value of over here? What is it? Order number only, right? Count this table. This table does not have order number, so it can't count on this.
My answer is coming as 98. Is it correct?
One second, sorry. How will I? What are you saying, Gunjan?
My answer is coming as 98.
Kya?
My answer is coming as 98, Ishani.
98.
Yes.
There are 98 orders where the product price is greater than the average price.
Correct.
Doesn't it look very small?
I believe my data set is small.
Meaning
so.
you're not using this one.
I am using the product name.
No, then you're using
Okay,
the,
I'm using the product table
but
itself.
then you're
Okay.
not finding the orders, right? You're just
Correct,
finding the name of the products where the price is greater than the average price. Okay, I think I'm going to stop you guys. Filter expression. I give up. Sorry, I give up today. Logically, this was making sense that I give the table and I'm saying in the sales data, find me the product wherever the product price is greater than the average one.
Ishani, average has to be a aggregated function, not measures.
It cannot be a measure.
Yes. I
But
believe
why?
as per the definition, calculate works.
No, I'm not
or-
using calculate. That's why I'm using filter.
Right. Can we try with the average ones?
Yes,
Average
yes.
function.
That, see, remember, I don't know, but if you remember last, hold on, let me stop talking and writing first. If you remember, as long as we were using it like this, function was working. It's only when I introduced the measure, all the functions stopped working. See, as long as we were doing this, it was working. So with the context filter, this is working. But why does the measure does not work? Because that was the main thing that filters are used for. Then if I have to do this and I have to apply it the same thing with the calculate, and if I use an average, then this is also working. Then I'm confused again why we need anything else. Right? Then this is also working. So what is the difference there? Okay, let me think about it. Okay, I'll talk to you tomorrow about this. Let's move on to the time intelligence functions. Now that we have done calculate, we can do it. So what are the time intelligence functions? A lot of time, like I was telling you, in the businesses, what people want to know is how was the performance versus last month or last year or last quarter? And then you tell, okay, did it grow or did we decrease in the sales or the revenue and so and so forth. So for all these things, we need some of our time intelligence functions. The first one that we're going to learn is how to find a cumulative of the based on the dates. So when you look at your AW calendar, we have got date and we have got date difference and so forth. What we are going to do to begin with, we are going to create a new column, and this new column I'm going to call as start of month. why I'm creating this new column. And there's a function called start of month, which can help you to create it. You don't have to write anything. Start of month, AW, calendar, date. And as a result of it, you will see a new table, a new column will get created over here, which is irrespective it's 1st of Jan, 2nd of Jan, 3rd of Jan, 4th of Jan, this will all give you as first. So it's just easier if we are trying to do any calculation on the monthly basis. Okay, and I'm going to make it as a date data type. So all this is doing is start of month is the name of a function also. What it does is irrespective of what date you have, it will put first of that particular month and year in front of it. So 6th of January also has 1st of January as a start of month. Now that we have that, let's say we create a matrix and I'm going to drop the start of month. Typically dates get dropped as a hierarchy. You see over here, start of month, year, month, quarter, days, everything is given. But in this case, we don't want a hierarchy. We want to use the date as it is. So I'm going to pick start of month. When I do, it gives me all the months that I have in my data set. Right? Now, if I go to the sales table and I drop the total sales. So what is this giving us? What are the values that I'm looking at? What am I looking at right now?
Monthly sales. Is it monthly sales?
These are monthly sales, right? Now, if I wanted to do a cumulative, then how do we do it? Let's see. We are going to use this. We're going to use this function called dates to year, and similarly, we have dates to quarter and dates to month. So since we already have a monthly data, what we can do cumulative based on dates till the year. So how do we use it? We are going to use the function calculate. Dates YTD. Calculate. What are we calculating? We are calculating the total sales. And what is the criteria? Criteria is dates YTD. Dates YTD of what? The calendar date. And close the bracket for calculate and press enter. Now this new thing that we have created as dates YTD. Now let's visit how it is. So January 1st, 2015 is as it is, but Feb 1st is what? It's 11. So how did we get 11? It's a cumulative of 585 and 532. So you will see it is cumulative till it hits December. So what was the total of 2015? Total of 2015 was 64,004,933. And then again it resets in the new month. And it will continue to do the same thing, cumulative, till it hits December. This is a total of December. This is a total of 2016, and then continue once again. So what we are doing is we are finding a cumulative sales in a year. If I would have used MTD, I cannot use on this table because this is giving me on a date level. If I wanted to use MTD, I could have done that, drop my date as a date and not a hierarchy. So this is giving me a daily date now. And in this, if we created similar function using measures, calculate total sales, date MTD right now, and calendar date, close the bracket, enter. Now let's see what it is going to give us. Now you see what it is giving. This is at the daily level. So if I drop once again the total sales, not here. In the same part, if I drop of the total sales. So 8,000 is a sale of 1st of January. On 2nd, it was 14. So cumulative became 22 and so on and so forth. So it will keep on adding till the end of the month, means 31st of January. And after that, it again resets in the 1st of Feb. So if you want a cumulative in terms of days, then we use the dates MTD because we are doing a cumulative on the month level. If you want to do it cumulative of the months on the year level, then you use YTD. And if you want to do on a quarter level, then you use QTD. This part is clear? Yes, no, maybe?
Yes.
Right? Now, another thing is that this is cumulative, but a lot of time, like I was saying, we try to find the previous. Okay. So let's say instead of finding a cumulative, I want to create a measure which helps me to find the previous month's sale or the previous year's sale, whichever it may be. So I'm just going to write previous month. Same thing, calculate. What are we calculating? We are calculating total sales. And now there are two ways of doing it. One is that there is a function called previous month, like the name is. And over there, you have just to tell which is the calendar it has to refer to and press enter. So whatever is a date, it will refer to the previous month. And a result of it, it would be that if I give the start of the month as a value, and I put over here the total sales, and I put the previous month's sales, it is going to come in this format. So for January, obviously it's a blank because that was the first month, but in front of Feb, I'm able to see the sales of Feb. In front of March, I'm able to see the sales of Feb and so on and so forth. Right? Now, what are the advantage of doing this? The advantage of doing this is now that we can use our KPI card. In this KPI card, what is used? It says what's the indicator, what's the trend axis, and what was the goal. Indicator is what? I want to evaluate my sales. What is the trend? Trend is I'm trying to see the monthly sales. So I can drop this over here. Right? So what it is giving me, it is giving me 1.83 million. What is 1.83 million? So if you scroll down, that is the total of the last month of the data that I have. 1st of June 2017, that was 1.83 million that I have. And this is showing the trend of the sales in the various years and months. Now, whether I did better or I did worse, I have to put some kind of target over here. Now, target goal could be a column which we already have in our data and we want to put it over here. Or let's say I want to just compare it with my previous month. So now what I can do is I can drop in previous month as my target and now it turns green. Now the reason this KPI card has turned green because my target was 1.77 million. I got 1.83 million. So that means there was an increase in +3.1 and hence it became green. It was, if it was negative, like if I did not achieve the target, then this would have become red and it would have shown the difference in minus. Is it clear? So for all these KPI calculations, typically you would require these calculations over here. I know it's already 4 o'clock. Just give me 5-7 minutes of your time. Just create this table and this KPI card. That's it. So just to make you right, we have to do this calculation called previous month sales. And before that, do that calculation of start of month.
Shani, previous month is column, right?
This one, this what's written over here.
No, we are doing, we are including a column or doing a
No, it's
measure.
not a column, it's a measure. It's a measure.
Shani, could you please show the syntax of
Of start of month,
Right.
yes, start of month?
start of month.
We have created start of month in column, right?
Start of month is going to be a column, correct? And it is going to be in the calendar table. All right, Ankita is
Shani,
done. Yes.
Shani, my answer is coming 1.77 M
1.77 is what?
millions.
No, in where are you talking about? It's 1.77 in the KPI card.
Yes, I'm just putting first start of month, then put the previous month, then it's give me the
Did you
1.77 M.
did you create this matrix?
No, not
Try to create it. Let me see what is your last date that it's picking. 1.77 means it's picking till 1st of May.
not creating this one. Okay, let me create.
Just drop your total sales and then drop previous month sales and start of month.
Okay, 1.7.
Meta done.
Shani, can you please
Yes.
show previous month?
This month.
Okay,
This one.
should be.
Yes.
We can do this using some function called datesat also that I'll show you. Can you please tell up KPI after this? So KPI, if you look at it, Kshitij, what does it have? Sorry. Previous month, let me copy paste over here and put it in the chat. So in the KPI card, Kshitij, what do you see? You see indicator, like what are we trying to indicate? It's a key performance indicator. So what are we indicating? We want to indicate sales, correct? So that's
Correct.
where total
Yeah.
sales is.
Yeah.
Right? What is the axis? What is the x-axis based on which you're trying to depict the trend? So that we took as start of month, so that month-wise, year-wise report is there.
Correct. Yeah, makes sense.
Now, we are saying we always see the performance against the parameter, right? Against a target. So in this case, we have taken the previous month sales. Tomorrow, we will also create a column of target and we'll see how we'll do from there. But for now, target goal I've given as previous month sales. And we can have 2 targets also. So again, that is something I'll cover tomorrow.
Sure, Ishan.
Okay, so anytime your value is more than the target, it turns green. And if it's less than the target, it will turn red.
Yeah, Ishani, I am getting the 1.83 million in KPI cards.
That's correct.
But previous sales column is showing blank in the table.
Okay, can you share your screen once?
Yeah, sure.
Can you show me the calculation of your previous month? Just select the previous month in your table because this is all blank. That's why it's going to infinity.
Also need to change the data type.
Guys, I'm just going to go and get the charger. Hold on 1 minute. Can you show me the calculation?
Yeah.
Just click on that field. It will show, yeah, calculate AW sales, total sales. This month. Remove that dot date from here. It's a monthly thing you're doing now. It's not a daily base that you're doing. Remove the dot date. Press enter.
Yes, it's working. Thank you so much.
Did you press enter?
Yeah, it's working now.
Oh, voice is cracking for me. It's working now. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Ishani.
All right, guys. So let's wrap it up. Tomorrow we are again going to sit and create a dashboard. Okay. We are going to create that one more dashboard tomorrow, and we'll put KPI cards also, and I'll tell you another function with versus previous month. All right. All right. Thank you. Take care.
Shani, one small question. I have seen that you have used related and somewhere it's used relatable.
Yes, Sanjeev.
Yeah. Ishani, what's the difference between related and relatable? Have we done if I'm missing it? Relatable. Am I audible?
I think Sanjeet, she has logged off.
Okay, no problem.
We can ask this
her
question tomorrow. Maybe I think she
Yeah,
has a training.
yeah, no problem. Okay, thanks everyone.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.